August 17th, 2021.
The other day the Lord started showing me certain things that I think I will be free to share the fullness of the visions, maybe in the coming days or weeks. Because you see, there's something that is being set up as well. But this one will happen in the year about 2024, 2025. Now, these things will not be there, but there will be another angle. But this, what you're seeing is going to be dismantled. But this that is coming as well shall be a very, very great deception. Actually, it shall start in 2024, then shall get in 2025. But there are certain things that are going to start happening. Now, you don't know whether I'm talking about that which I have mentioned earlier, but there are certain things that will start happening and that we really need the light of God. They will not be scary, but they will cause a lot of confusion. A lot of confusion. Do you know there are things that have been set up on this earth, and all of them have been set up just to prepare for avenues of deception. Let me give you an example. On a certain mountain, and this is true, this is something true, you can go and check it. On a certain mountain, Mount Graham, in the US, I think it's in Alabama, there's a telescope that has been set up and has always been there, and it is called Lucifer. And you know who set it up? The Vatican. And it is meant to observe extraterrestrial activity. Now there's something that is building up where, you remember Jesus said, as it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be in the days of the Son of Man. Now you people think that you're dealing with deception. You wait what is coming. Because what you're going to be dealing with is now proper spiritual manifestation. So it says, Jesus said, as it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be in the days of the coming of the Son of Man. Now what happened in those days? Those are the days where you see the watchers, the fallen angels, the angels that came around and on this earth and started intermingling with the human race. And whatever came out, you saw it, or you know it. Now, there's this observatory that is set up on Mount Graham. Now, you will see, a time will come when they will actually begin to have certain manifestations. And those manifestations, when they show up, a certain narrative, they will demand a certain narrative to be altered, to be twisted. And deception shall start from there. But some of the religious people, or who are at least perceived to be religious and spiritual, will have a lot of excuses, and which actually they're already starting to build on. And they will call them your brothers, our brethren. And because they have arrived on this earth, and I'm not telling you something that is not or is speculative. I'm telling you facts. Now, because they have arrived on this earth, and because it is the earth, you know, you know that the fall of man happened on earth, not so? So they will tell you that because the fall of man happened on this earth, these creatures did not fall. And because they did not fall, they are all creatures of God. And since they did not fall, they have a better knowledge, a superior knowledge of God than you do. So allow them to evangelize you, because what they are telling you actually is. And then there will be certain people say, I'm not talking about things that are not. So they will take you down that road, and some of them will quote John 10:16. You know, because you see, what happens is, first go to John 10:16, I believe it says, and other sheep I have, which are not of this fold. And this is how people get confused. In other words, others who are not just this earthly one. Other sheep I have which are not of this fold. Them also I must bring. And they shall hear my voice, and they shall be one fold and one shepherd. So, these are the other sheep. I don't know whether you guys are ready for this, or we don't have time now, No, Josh should come with the cameras and I'll set up a movie where we shall act this out, But what I'm telling you is movie-like, but it's not a movie.
4 years and 6 months later, global media outlets were awash with breaking news reports that U.S. President Donald Trump had ordered the Pentagon to release all classified files and evidence the U.S. government had on UFOs and alien life forms and sightings that have actually been in the Earth's atmosphere, in a stunning fulfillment of prophecy.
Blurry lights in the sky, metallic objects appearing out of nowhere, pilots reporting things they could not explain. Even astronauts photographing unexplained formations in space. Sounds like the plot of a Hollywood alien movie, right? Except this time, the files are real. And now the United States government says the public can finally see them.
New this morning, we are following some developing news at the live desk right now. The Trump administration releasing the first batch of UFO files within the past 30 minutes.
This that is coming as well shall be a very, very great deception. Actually, it shall start in 2024 and shall get in 2025.
A new report, Mackay, that's revealing UFO sightings are up in 2025.
Yeah, so according to data from the National UFO Reporting Center, the 2,174 sightings mark an increase from 2024, when the agency logged nearly 1,500 sightings between the beginning of January and the end of June.
It is meant to observe extraterrestrial activity. What I'm telling you is movie-like, but it's not a movie. A day is going to come where they will normalize certain things that are not earthly, because their time of manifestation and to come and spread around the deception will have come.
Blurry lights in the sky, metallic objects appearing out of nowhere, pilots reporting things they could not explain. Even astronauts photographing unexplained formations in space. Sounds like the plot of a Hollywood alien movie, right? Except this time, the files are real. And now the United States government says the public can finally see them.
And actually, the propagation of this deception, the world shall depend more on the church that has fallen to really propagate, because they can't, you really have to have, people who are really sheep in that fallen system.
Just when you thought the disclosure of aliens and UFOs and interdimensional beings couldn't get more bizarre, well-known Christian pastor Perry Stone just had this to say.
But there were a large number of pastors that had been invited to go to a certain state to hear some men in the United States government and others share with them a concern that they had. But he said, Perry, what they're about to release, from what we're hearing, there's going to be a release concerning aliens and concerning unidentified flying object spacecraft, that some of the people who were in the meeting were telling us as pastors, you need to prepare your people and you need to get ready to answer them for what you're about to hear being released.
Alien disclosure, 10 years ago, I feel like this would have been something that a lot of people would have laughed at or dismissed or not talked about. And yet here we are, we have people in Congress, we have pastors, we have most of the American public, the majority of the American public believing in UFOs and aliens at this point. Now, there has been a lot of buzz over the last couple of days about a meeting that reportedly happened earlier this year. And a number of pastors were brought together, and you were one of the people who were in this meeting. Can you talk about, before we get into anything else, how did you find out about the meeting and how were you invited?
Well, a number of us, Billy, first of all, great to be with you. Love your show. A number of us are podcasters, and I do a daily live broadcast, and a lot of these individuals have been watching me and a number of my friends, and so they invited us and a number of pastors to, I'll just say it this way, kind of a secret location in Tennessee, and it was really just a rental house that they brought a bunch of people to and began to give disclosure to what was happening. So they reached out because of our platforms, and they wanted to get the word out. They said they felt like we were legit, other people were legit in the circle, and they wanted to connect with us. And they'd watched us for some time and felt like we were coming to the right conclusions on many of these issues. And so they brought us in, and I'll tell you, at first, a lot of the things they disclosed to us were things we'd already heard or come to the same conclusions on. But they really did reveal some things that I thought, this is important. This needs to be said to churches and pastors and leaders, not because it's so earth-shattering for people that know the Lord, that know where they are in Jesus, but for the average believer that's not really sure. They're not grounded in the Bible the way they should be. What they're talking about, I think, really could be earth-shattering for a lot of people.
A time will come when they will actually begin to have certain manifestations. And those manifestations, when they show up, a certain narrative, they will demand a certain narrative to be altered, to be twisted. And deception shall start from there. But some of the religious people, who are at least perceived to be religious and spiritual, will have a lot of excuses, and which actually they're already starting to build on it. And they will call them your brothers, our brethren. And because they have arrived on this earth, so they will tell you that because the fall of man happened on this earth, these creatures did not fall. And because they did not fall, they are all creatures of God.
So if there are aliens, God made them. And here's the thing, if they're intelligent, like if they have intellect and will, it's possible that he also made them in his image and likeness. The same God who created human beings also created angels, right? He created human beings with an intellect and a will in bodies, and angels with an intellect and a will with no body. Who's to say that God couldn't continue to create?
Think there's aliens?
Let me put it this way. If we see an alien who's like us, has rational consciousness, does mathematics like us, has transcendental desires for perfect truth, love, goodness, being at home like us, if we see that alien, you can be sure of one thing. He did not evolve from a purely materialistic, organic, physical process. In other words, God had to give him a soul too. And if God gave that alien a soul, then I would venture to say that we better catechize him about Jesus Christ, because odds are if he has a soul, then he's free. And if he's free, he might have had a fall. And if he did have a fall and he doesn't know about Jesus Christ, we got to catechize him and baptize him right away.
God's authority over the events and forces of this world is being implemented and put on full display through Prophet Elvis Mbonye, his supreme prophet of this dispensation. And we who bear witness to this constant supreme prophetic operation accord double honor to Prophet Elvis Mbonye.